All right. So this week we're kind of switching up the quick flow format. Instead of doing our reset with our low bridge and core wake up in the beginning, we are putting it into a larger sequence and just trying to take a moment to kind of slow time down because we're in that phase of the year where things are swirling and kind of flying by you faster than you realize. So just taking a moment to stop time and just be in your body. So let's get started. We'll start in a quadruped today. But first you can sit the hips back for a little bit of a child's pose. Today I'm going to tuck my toes and shift the hips back, and that's going to get a little bit of a calf stretch going and the bottom of the foot, the plantar fascia. And of course, if you want to flip those feet and just head to a reclined child's pose, you feel free to do that. Just take a moment to check in here. Inhaling deeply. Then exhaling. And then when you're ready, just shift your way forward, no rush here, to more of a normal quadruped, finding those wrists under the shoulders. And just taking a moment to feel the start of some strength in the front of your body, holding you up here. And we'll start with the left leg. We're gonna weight into the right shin and pull the left knee and thigh forward. So we're flexing at the hip without moving the pelvis. And then stretch this leg back, flexing the foot. Once again, neutral pelvis here. So we're not going to move in the left half of the pelvis at all as we move between these two positions where we pull the knee towards us and then extend the leg back. So we're just starting to get some early lower extremity activity going. As you pull that leg forward, really be conscious of the front of the ribs and this core region. Don't let it sag towards the thigh. Next time you extend back, we'll pull the leg in. We're coming to a half kneel. So pull that left knee in, maybe rise up on the fingertips and plant the left foot. Inhale, arms lift up as you extend. Really get some reach here, like you're stretching in the morning. And then interlace those hands behind the head, elbows wide. Lay the head back in space. Maybe take an exhale here to help you consolidate the ribs. Inhale as you come up, and then exhale, curve in with that, the elbows, the head, really rounding in the upper back, but keeping everything below nice and straight here. Inhale, open it up. Hold on, I'm gonna let somebody in. And exhale, curl it in. Elbows coming in, drawing the head down, chin towards the chest. One more time, we'll inhale, open it up, really fanning the chest open. You can also feel those shoulder blades kind of pull towards the spine here. And then exhale, pull it in, curving that head, not pulling on the head, just feeling a gentle weight there. And then plant the hands forward. We'll step the right foot in, bend the knees really deeply for a bent knee forward fold. And you'll already feel that with the knees bent, you're getting a bit of stretch in the back of the legs. Inhale, rise to stand, arms reach up. Exhale, interlace the hands behind the head, elbows wide once again. We'll step the right foot wide, sit the hips back for like a chair pose, but we've got these wide legs today. And then right foot steps in as you come to vertical, left foot steps out, sit those hips back. So we'll alternate from side to side here. And you can use this locking sensation between the skull and the hands to help you from letting the head fall forward or move out of position. So next time you step the right foot wide, sit those hips back. Bit of a funky transition here. We're gonna move around the mat. If you can, you'll bring the fingertips to the floor. Feet stay where they are, but they're gonna swivel with you. So we'll turn to the right, bending into this left knee. We're in what's called a nutcracker in the LYT Yoga world. And that right leg is straight. You're maybe on the outer border of the foot. If you'd like here, you can move the rib cage side to side, and you'll feel Like I feel as I move my ribs right, a little bit of extra opening in that left hip. If you need to move the hands up the leg to keep the back long, totally fine. Adjust this pose to give you the sensation that you want. And then we'll uncross the feet, right foot steps next to the left, and walk the hands forward for a down dog. Feel pressure through the palms, almost like you were lifting up into the ribs from that pressure. And then lift the left leg, three-legged down dog. Exhale, bend the knee, and we'll step the foot forward for a bent knee pyramid. So plant that foot, and you can keep the left knee nice and bent. I like to keep my right heel off the floor. It helps me with the alignment of my pelvis, but we're really drawing back in the left hip crease here. Finding neutral pelvis, long spine, and some opening in the left leg. I'm sorry if you hear the sirens. From here, we'll ground the right heel, open up for a warrior variation. Left leg bends, left forearm to left thigh, and reach the right arm alongside the ear. We can add a few back strokes by sweeping the right arm towards the front of the mat, down, and towards the back of the mat. Just some big circles here. Let that head go. You can release the left ear. And then big transition move from here. Pause your circling. We'll press off the left foot, cross it behind the right for a curtsy. So press off that foot, facing the side of the mat, crossing left knee behind right, and sitting those hips back for your curtsy squat. Left fingertips come to the floor. We'll head to seated twist facing the front of the mat. So those feet turn to face the front, and we sit down. This left knee is bent under us. You could extend it out. And let's roll the shoulders here. As you do this, be conscious, almost like the back of your head was being lifted up in space. Rolling it out. And then let that roll go. We're gonna adjust ourselves to come back onto the mat. Uncross the legs, feet flat on the floor. Arms extend forward, and we'll exhale, roll it down through the spine, kind of like a Pilates roll up move. When those shoulder blades are just off the floor, interlace the hands behind the head, elbows in, and inhale, lower. Little core work here. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. If you'd like, you can try lifting the right knee and then the left knee over the hips. You don't have to do that. Right foot lowers, left foot lowers. Inhale, head lowers. Adding on if you'd like, exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Maybe add a twist to the left here, moving through the rib cage. Left knee can lift if you'd like, and then right knee. But hold that low belly down, so sacrum to the floor. Back to center, left foot lowers, right foot lowers, inhale. Last time here, exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Really consolidate the front. Option to add your twist to the left, and then try floating both knees up. Really hold on to that low belly, punch it down to the floor. Back to neutral, feet lower, and press those palms down by your pelvis. Lengthen through the tailbone. We'll find our low bridge here. If you want, you can start to do a little bit of circular motion in the wrists, even taking it into the elbows, just lubricating the forearms and the wrists here. Good, and then we'll slowly lower through the spine, descending back to the mat. We're heading to stag legs, but we've got a bit of a transition to get there. Let the legs fall to the left here and keep following that direction so you come on the left side, right hand plants in front of you, and you walk yourself up, sliding that right knee out a little bit, coming into our stag legs. Right half of the pelvis is lifted. We turn towards this left thigh, and then walk yourself forward a little bit. You'll get a bit of an opening in the outer hip there. Big inhale. Exhale, release. You can, of course, go further down if that feels okay. Again, we're making these poses work for us and give us what we want, not fitting into some shape. Last time as you exhale, come up to vertical, and this time we'll cross the right leg on top of the left for a seated twist. Just for a moment. Let's interlace those fingers. Exhale, punch the fingers forward, dome the upper back. And then inhale, rise to vertical, hands pull apart, elbows come wide for a bit of a motorcycle pullback, as I call it. One more of those two, punching the hands forward, round that upper back, head goes. Inhale through center, arms apart, and we pull back here. Release those hands, we'll unwind to the left for side lunges. So coming to face the opposite side of the mat, of course, adjust the feet to step on the mat, and then bending into one knee and hip and then the other. Trying to keep, always a good reminder, the knee joint to some degree stacked over the ankle. It's going to move forward a little bit, but we don't want it way over the toes. That's a symptom of some hip restriction. So really go to where you can feel that knee in relationship to the ankle. We'll turn to the front of the mat here, plant the hands for down dog, step the left foot back. Big inhale. Let's exhale it out. And then unfurl the spine here. We'll curl or kind of uncurl to a plank. Pause there. And then lower to the floor in whatever way feels good. Walk those fingertips off the mat for your wide fingertip cobra. Pull the shoulder blades towards the spine. Inhale here. Exhale, release. And then plant the hands. We'll lift ourselves up, but come into a quadruped. So walk those knees in a bit, and we'll head to the other side. So finding your strength here. We'll sense how different this feels now that we've gone through our kind of warm-up phase. So drawing that right knee and thigh forward, and then extending the leg back. Really check in with the pelvis as you go. Not letting that right half of the pelvis pick up or sag, but keeping it nice and lifted. Even getting a little bit of a stretch through the back of that right leg. And then next time you pull forward, we'll come to half kneel. Maybe lift up on the fingertips as that right foot lands. Inhale, arms lift. And as you exhale, hands behind the head, elbows wide, and we just lay the skull back in space. Turn that left glute on to anchor you. Inhale through vertical and exhale, curl it in. Inhale, open it up nice and wide. And exhale, curl it in. One more. Inhale, open wide, chest opening. Exhale, curl it in. And then hands come forward, step the back foot in. Really bend those knees. Press into the feet. Inhale, arms lift. Hands interlace behind the head, elbows nice and wide. Left foot stepping out to the side, and we sit back for our wide-legged chair. Alternating side to side here, but really keeping a sense of length and neutrality through the spine. So we're just moving in the hip joint. We don't need to move the back to make that happen. So next time that left foot steps out, we'll sit the hips back, pause there. Bring those fingertips to the floor, and then walk yourself around to the right, swiveling the feet as you go, bending into that right knee with a straight left leg crossed behind for our nutcracker. Not my favorite name, I have to say. We'll exhale, shift the rib cage side to side here. Feeling how that changes the stretch. And then let that shimmying go. We'll uncross the feet, bring the left foot next to the right. And then walk the hands forward to your down dog. Push into the palms and the finger pads. Feel that kind of give you a sense of lift up towards the pelvis. And then right leg lifts, three-legged down dog. We'll exhale, step the right foot forward, bent knee pyramid. So you can really keep the legs almost as is, keeping that bend in the right leg. And if you need, you can bring your fingers into the right hip crease and kind of manually encourage the hip back in space to deepen. Inhaling here. And as you exhale, open it up for your warrior variation. Ground the left heel, right forearm to right thigh, left arm over the ear, and add those back strokes if you'd like. Keep trying to reach tailbone towards the floor, so not winging it back towards the left foot, but really keeping the pelvis neutral, and that will maximize the stretch on the left side there. Pause your backstroke. We're heading to that curtsy. We'll press off the right leg and swipe it behind the left for curtsy. It's okay if you have a little blip in between, sitting the hips back. Right fingertips to floor, turn to the front for your seated twist. Remember, you can straighten that right leg if that feels good underneath. And roll the shoulders. Letting that, almost imagining the tissue on the upper back, like becoming more liquid, like it was melting as you moved, just from the friction. And then release the rolling. We'll head towards our back, uncrossing the legs. Reach those arms forward and exhale, roll it back just until the shoulder blades are above the floor. Interlace those hands behind the head and inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Option exists here, left knee can lift, and then the right if you'd like. Left foot down, right foot down, inhale, lower. Exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. You can add a twist here to the right. Maybe that right knee lifts and maybe also the left knee lifts. Option. Right foot lowers, left foot lowers, back to center. Inhale, head and shoulder blades lower. Last time here, exhale, head and shoulder blades lift. Maybe add your twist to the right. And then final option, really hold on to that low back, drawing the knees up if you'd like. Coming back to center, feet lower, and inhale, head lowers. Palms come to the mat, we'll lengthen the tailbone. Use those glutes to lift to your low bridge. Really sense here the consolidation in the core. Feel the glutes waking up. We finally got here. And then maybe add those circles through the wrists. Moving it around. Rolling. And then let that circling go. You can slowly lower through the spine. And letting our legs lead us here. Both knees will fall to the right. We'll keep rolling to the right. Left hand plants in front of you. And then as you push yourself up, this left knee slides away from you slightly. Stag legs. Left half of the pelvis is lifted. We'll shift to come over this right thigh and walk our way forward. Of course, you listen to what feels good to you. Don't have to go as far as anybody else. Exhale through the mouth as you're here. Releasing. One more big breath here. Release. And then walk yourself back towards vertical. We'll cross the left foot over the right leg for a seated twist. So this is on the other side than what we just did. We'll interlace those fingers and punch the shape forward as the upper back moves back in space, almost like somebody was pushing you from the front. Release the chin towards the throat. Inhale, rise to vertical, part those hands, and shoulder blades pull towards the spine to just slightly pull the arms back here. Interlace those hands once again, punch it forward. So we're doing these little counteracting actions to really help us open up space. Part those hands, pull it back. And then release the fingertips Turn to your right for side lunges, facing the opposite side of the mat. Of course, if you don't want those hands on the floor, feel free to bring them somewhere on the body for a bit of a shallower diagonal. Moving side to side, feel how that opens up the inner thigh, it feels nice. And then next time you bend left, let's pause here. Let's add a twist actually. Plant the right hand. We'll peel the left arm up towards the ceiling if that feels okay. And then switch sides, bending into right knee and hip. Plant the left hand and we'll peel our way into our twist, twisting towards the front of the mat. Release that there, turn yourself to the front of the mat, plant the hands, right foot steps back for your down dog. And we'll take 3 shifts this time. Curling through the spine, we unfurl to a plank, use those glutes at the top. And then exhale, crease at the hip, lift that pelvis up, returning to your down dog. Exhale, curl it forward. Of course, if you're not feeling this today, you can stay in the down dog or come to your belly. Lift it up. One more, we'll curl it forward to our plank. And then lower to the floor in whatever way works. Walk those fingertips off the floor, elbows point up. Slightly pull the shoulder blades together as you inhale, expanding the chest. Exhale, release. And let's just turn over here. We'll take a figure 4 for just a moment, rolling onto our backs, planting those feet into the mat. And then lift the left knee over the hip, similar to our core. Externally rotate in the hip and cross left ankle over the right thigh. Keeping some anchoring in the low belly, you can draw the right thigh, keeping it in line with the hip joint. So not letting it roll side to side, but really keeping it nice and straight to get a little extra opening in that left hip. Inhaling here. Exhale through the mouth, maybe close the eyes if that feels comfortable. You can always, once you've kind of established your position, you can interlace those hands behind the right thigh if that works for you. You could even extend that right leg. And then lower the right foot to the floor. We'll uncross the left leg and switch sides, bringing that right knee up first, and then following your honest external rotation to cross that ankle. Anchor into the low belly before you draw that thigh towards you. Ooh, that feels nice today. And as you're here, almost experiment with consolidating the core, like imagining you could knit your 2 pelvic points together, and you'll feel the sensation in the back of the hip and the outer hip deepen or change, because all those muscles are connected. So contracting the front is going to actually pull on or expand the back. If you want to interlace those hands behind the left leg, you can. And then lower the left foot. We'll uncross the legs and head to a Shavasana. As we've been doing, you can find any position that works for you. It might be different from what it was yesterday or Tuesday, and that is a-okay. It is a beautiful day where I am in the DC area, so if it is the same for you, maybe envisioning that you're soaking up the sun here, really relaxing into the earth, like a battery recharging.
If you would like to stay longer today, you can mute your computer or pause the video, leave the Zoom room, and stay as long as you'd like. You're ready to come back to the world. Deepen your next inhale and exhale. Maybe breathing through the mouth as you exhale. And just gently turn your head side to side, almost like it was sloshing full of water, just really gently, like a buoy in the ocean. Just gently getting some motion into this area. And if it feels good to you on your next inhale, you can stretch your limbs away from each other, feeling something expansive and like taffy. And then exhale and release. If it feels okay, you can come up to a seat, maybe keeping the eyes closed. But if that's not working for you, you take your path. We'll just take one final moment with ourselves before we release into the world. Inhale through your nose. Open that mouth, let a sigh out. You can bring your hands to heart center. Give yourself a hearty thanks for taking time for you, your body, your mind, your spirit. Thank you for your practice today. The light in me sees and honors the light in me. I'll stick around if you guys have questions. Otherwise, back tomorrow and next week. So I will see you when I see you. Thanks, Monica.